From the F3 Nation podcast studios.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is the COT Podcast, connecting the packs of F3 Nation through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Andrew Maggio, 35, Wirebiter.
Mike Kirkos, 35, Saganaki.
Huckleberry, 40, Rep Sleepy.
Peter Ranky, 63, Bambi.
COT Podcast starts right now.
Shut up and sit down.
I said all the things.
All the things.
Welcome back to the Circuit Trust podcast. Today is June 27th, Friday, June 27th. We're getting ready for the weekend. Just had a meeting with Go Ruck and Dark Helmet, and look for more information to come out soon. I didn't get the code. It's out there for an hour, and I guess it's coming out in a little bit. We'll find out. I'm still waiting like you are. June is men's health. I know every month is men's health month, but in June, I guess we talk about it, and I hope you guys are doing that in your region. Flea's here. Help me out. We got Motorboat coming in just a second. But Flea, what you got over there in the UK?
Plenty going on. The main topic for me this week has been planning for the UK's convergence, which is happening tomorrow morning. So I've got an early night tonight. We've got a 4 a.m. start driving down to our Midlands region. So we've got a nice early start planned. We've got a solid hour and a bit BD, followed by a discussion for an hour and a half. So yeah, some nice activities planned. Been on the organisation committee and doing a bit of queuing. I've got the final blaster, the final finisher before the Circular Trust. So I've got to give the guys something special. So I'm looking forward to that one. I've got my new shirt arrived just in time. So I'll be wearing that tomorrow.
Where do you guys buy your shirts from, out of curiosity? Because I know you're not getting them from Mud Gear.
No, we're not. We I think one of the Southern Nantans got a deal set up with a UK manufacturer. Where again, I think there's some arrangement with them where we get something reinvested back in to provide us more funds to launch and launch new regions. So we're trying to do it with the intent to promote growth. But I've not been involved with it, to be honest. I just know we get pointed to the same place. So yeah, very consolidated. Actually, I was just wearing my hoodie on my last work call of the day and had a Teams message from one of my colleagues in Chicago. And he says, "Is that the F3 logo from Fitness, Fellowship and Faith? Is that what it is?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "Oh man, I was going to that for several years down in South Carolina before I moved to Chicago." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "Are you still going?" He said, "No, I've not managed to find anywhere yet." So that was it. I went straight on to F3 Nation, got the map out and sent in the map and say, there's 60 beatdowns going on here. Get to your local beatdowns and go and see him. So I will give him a shout out. His F3 name is Sparks. He lived in South Carolina for many years. He didn't tell me which AO he was hitting, but I've now hopefully shamed him to go and get out there and go meet the Illinois guys. So yeah. Hopefully he will.
That. And I've been in that position where I thought I moved away from F3 and I'd never see it again. And then all of a sudden it popped back up right in my face. And that is an incredible experience. So for him to be over there in the UK and have that experience, I can only imagine.
No, he's in the US. No, he's in the US.
Oh, he's in the US.
He's moved to Chicago from South Carolina. So again, there's an abundance of F3 going on in both states. So should be definitely looking to hit them up. And then other breaking news this afternoon, I got the nod on my trip to the US. So I will be coming to the US, will be hitting Las Vegas for that exhibition. I will be trying to do a pop-up BD with some guys. I will be going on Slack and doing a downrange post and seeing if we can get anyone there to assemble there. Hopefully my friend Aloy from Tennessee will be going. And I'm going to try, I think I mentioned on the last podcast, trying to stop off at Charlotte on the way, go and see my friend from university who's living there now. So if we're in Charlotte, then there's plenty of options there for me to try and hit and post while I'm over. So yeah, lots to do. Loads of stuff. I mean, I was going to say, state the nation-wise, I mean, for me, it's great. I've got the Slack app now on my phone. I've got the national feed going on. I haven't got any of the regional feeds because it just get too crazy. But yeah, national-wise, some really nice stuff going on. Certainly third F-wise. Saw some great stuff about. I saw one that posted on Flounder, who's due his quadruple respect coming up in the next couple of days. So again, that's fantastic that a guy like that more senior guy in the organization can get to that and continue working out and attending and posting. So yeah, full on T claps and respect to get to that. So yeah, so full respect. Other few bits. I mean, again, another one that got me with a lump in my throat. I saw a post from Shots Fired down in Houston. He went through a cancer diagnosis and yeah, not been given a great prognosis, to be honest. But what he is doing is getting out there. He's raising awareness of his diagnosis and doing some planned activities. He's got a boot walk planned in for November the 15th. So anyone down in Houston area, please get yourself out there, go and support a great cause. And the guy, although he's not been given long, he's still out there representing, bringing awareness. And that's his post from it. I was just absolutely choked up by it. It's still on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great cause. And I just put that's model. That is model fourth quadrant. Absolutely model. So yeah, for great respect to the guy. Yeah, and just sad again listening back. I say unfortunately I had a few technical issues and couldn't join Huck. But for the last couple of podcasts, we tried, didn't we? We tried, but my mobile cellular signal was absolutely terrible. And Huck did some fantastic editing to not have me in the way of what was some really good interviews with Heister and Bogey. And again, Heister's story I was listening to in the car driving back from a work trip, and yeah, his daughter's Millie's situation, and you know how F3 is helping him to get through that. Again, is another tearjerker story, and again another lump in my throat. It's been quite an emotional week listening to some guys' stories. And then Bogey is just fantastic about what he's doing in Boys Town, about and the whole history of the place too. Is just very apt about we're setting up and we're supporting guys going through that when there's such a history of the town in the past too. So again, great bits of news, and it's great that the guys are coming on to the podcast and talking with us about their stories and what can we learn from and what can we share. We're all got our own stories. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. So I will push out and get out there, guys. If you've got stories you want to talk about, we want to hear about them. We want to talk to you about them. So email us in podcast@f3nation.com. Get your stories in, even if it's a quick one-liner. Huck will pick the emails up and then schedule in some time with you. We want to talk to you. I've been queuing up some guys in the UK, guys I've been working out with across the different regions. I'll be with them tomorrow for the UK convergence. I'll be going out there trying to get some guys' names to come and join us. So, yeah. Globally, let's get the word out there. Let's get everyone on.
Cool. Thanks for bringing up those other podcasts. And I have a full lineup, I think, next week. Waiting on one guy. Evidently his son for the first time. And I don't want to give it away, but he's autistic. And I don't know the severity of how far on the spectrum, but he cued his first 22-year-old kid, and he's going to come on and talk about that kid coming in and queuing. And what a phenomenal thing F3 offers. That guys are all like the whole you come into this. We are open to all men, and you get to lead. You get to lead in our ranks. So if you watch that Heister video, we snuck in this video of him speaking at the end or near the end of a Freedom Ops event, and we call that the Sunriser. And so I hope you got to see that. If you've never been to a Freedom Ops event, that's one of the things you'll go through during the night. And so therefore we brought in one of the best of the best, Motorboat. I've got a little bit of history with Motorboat, and I can't wait to share that with you. But Motorboat, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and how amazing you are.
Hello, COT Podcast. It's your boy Motorboat coming at you from Carmel, Indiana. Addis names 38 for a couple more days here. My F3 name is Motorboat. My home region is F3 Indianapolis and West Indy. So I live right on the line between two regions. So I actually post in both of the regions on a regular basis. Yeah, so I joined F3 about 6 years ago. When Indianapolis was just a little tiny region. We only had one location. It was meeting 3 days a week, and now it's grown. We've got something like 30 different locations, and I've got my choice of almost 50 beatdowns a week that I can choose from. So it's been pretty awesome to get a chance to be a part of this team that has grown. I've gotten the chance to serve locally for several different roles, which has been great, and then got the opportunity to do a grow ruck, back in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic when we were still wearing masks. Shout out to GTE 20 in Louisville, which was a fantastic, life-changing event, and the rest is history from there.
How did you stumble into F3? What was your story? Who EH'd you into coming to your first beatdown?
Oh man, Flea, that is a crazy story. So I actually started doing Go Ruck events way before F3. And I have been around the Go Ruck world since class 011. So it's been a long time. Jason was just selling rucks out of the back of his truck. That's when I joined the Go Ruck world. And I was doing these events, and there were always these crazy guys wearing an F3 shirt that took the heaviest things. They antagonized the cadre to like make it harder and just talking smack. And at that point in my life, I was just trying to finish the event and not die. That was my real goal, was being alive. And yeah, these crazy guys. And I thought, I don't want anything to do with them. So anytime anybody said anything about F3, I was like, turn around, go the opposite direction. And then Go Ruck in the pandemic actually put out these opportunities to do these little pop-up beatdowns, earn a free patch. And one of them was go for a 5-miler off-road. So you weren't allowed to use any paved roads. Yeah, something like that. And I just put it out on a local Facebook thing and met 3 of the guys in a park that I'd never met before, and a 4th guy that they had recruited. And we went for our ruck and we talked a lot. And I was like, oh, these guys aren't too bad. And then a couple months later, on our neighborhood Facebook page, Marshall, who's real good about just giving these regular updates, just said, hey, there's a free men's workout at 5:30 in the morning just down the street. I thought, that is 3.5 miles down the street, and 5:30 works really well for me. I should probably go, no excuses. And so I showed up. I made a joke about putting my head between the jugs that we were supposed to have brought with us for the first beatdown, and they named me Motorboat, you know?
Nice. So how did you feel after that first one? I mean, what was that first BD look like? Did you finish it thinking, oh, I like this, or it's a bit odd, or I could get into it?
You know, I was significantly heavier than I am now. And so I had actually tried to work out on my own, and I made it 3 minutes on my own on a workout before I laid on the floor for 30 minutes thinking I had a heart attack. And I was like, that's why I've got to find a group to go with. And so that first workout was tough, but I was in 100%. Guys were encouraging. They were there pushing each other hard. And I thought, yep, this is the people that I need to be around. And they're crazy enough to be up in the morning with me. So I'm in, hook, line, and sinker. So my first workout was on Thursday. And the week from Saturday, I got to lead my first beatdown. So yeah, I was in 100%. There was no second guessing on that.
Now, how was your social circle at the time when you got into F3? Were you in that typical sad clown state that we talk about, where you don't have those male peers, those close friendship groups? I mean, I come from that position as well, with the COVID situation going on. There's a bit of isolation. Just tell us your story, please, Motorboat, on where you were at.
Yeah. So that was 2019 that we joined. My wife and I had moved back here to Indiana in 2015. And I had changed jobs in 2017. So any sort of work group that I would have had, I didn't have. I work about 35 minutes from my house, so I don't interact with any of those people at all. And so I had a couple of neighbors, the neighbor across the street and kind of catty corner, and then one a little bit farther down were the only people that we hung out with. And hanging out consisted of cards, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong. They're great to play cards with, and drinking heavily, and sitting around the fire. And that was the extent, I think, of my social circle. My wife was in 2019. We had just had our 3rd kid. So we were just kind of putting our heads down. So we had 3 kids under the age of 4 at that point in time, maybe 5, whatever. They were little and there was a lot going on, and then I wasn't doing anything. So sad clown. Yeah, absolutely 1%. There was nothing.
It's such a common theme, really, for lots of guys who, even on this side of the pond, we speak to, and it's the same situation. And again, it doesn't seem to be unique to a particular country. It seems to be the same everywhere we ask and everywhere we go. How did you get into the sort of the development side of things? With F3, we push leadership development. We talk about men's community leadership. How does that journey look like for you over the time since you started within F3?
Yeah, so that was a fun thing there. So I got to queue my first 10 days into it. And I thought, this is fun. I enjoy doing this. And I was getting the chance to queue, and we had a Q source meeting every I don't know, it was Tuesdays maybe before our workout, Wednesdays, one of the days. So we're meeting early, going through that for a half hour, then going to the workout. So I was getting to learn all of that stuff. At the same time, I was also completing my MBA. So I was trying to go into an administrative role in leadership, and F3's being a leadership group. They said, hey, you know what? You want some reps at this? Here you go. And so I got the opportunity to become Nantan, which was great. So I was kind of helping us lead that and expand our reach there. And then the guy said, let's go do a Grow Ruck event. And so I did that Grow Ruck event that I trained for with a couple of my F3 brothers, and life-changing opportunity, just absolutely life-changing. Everything has been different from that. That was the first time in an event that I wasn't just trying to survive, that we were actually thriving. And so, when we're doing all these crazy workouts at 2:00 in the morning and I'm just going along and I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, I'm in good shape here. Like, I need to help out these other guys. How can I help them succeed? And I wasn't just focused on myself. And that was a pivotal change in my life and how I deal with things. And so from there, it was, okay, I got to be the Nantan and I got to lead. And the guy said, you know what, why don't you go do a crazier event? And so I did a Go Ruck HTL. That was an F3 custom event. Unlike the normal Go Ruck events that, you have a heavy and then people leave and they come back for the tough and then they leave and they come back for the light. This was a custom that you started the heavy. And if you didn't start the heavy, you weren't starting anything else. So everyone that was starting was going through. It was only F3 guys. And that was great. And about halfway through that event, I noticed some of my brothers just struggling, and I'm helping them and I'm carrying the heavy stuff. But I look at it and going, this isn't getting the point that they wanted. I think I would have designed this evolution this way. And that's when a couple of guys said, man, you got a screw loose up top. Like this is not normal. You need to do something different. And I said, okay. And about a week after that, they said, hey, we're going to do Cadre Academy and see if we can bring on some F3 guys to lead the GTE events. And I got multiple text messages of, so when are you going to Cadre Academy? And do you want a letter of recommendation? So, yep. Okay. I guess that's where I'm going. And so I got the opportunity to go to Cadre Academy and hang out with some really cool guys, get to learn the behind the scenes, why we do what we do, how we do what we do, what are better ways to lead guys and help them get to their potential. And so from that standpoint, I've just taken every opportunity that they've given me to lead events and to read books and talk with guys that are much smarter than me, much more intelligent than I am about every topic. And I just absorb that for what I can. I was able to pass on that Nantan role and move into an area Q role. So kind of taking over a group of regions there and try to help them accelerate as best I could. And then train up the guys behind me. And so I've been able to pass that off as well and let them do what they are good at and just thrive. And I've been able to dive into this cadre thing, dive into some work leadership opportunities. It's been absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to dive in here for 1 second. Motorboat brought up a couple of things that I want to follow up on, but specifically, I'm an event guy, and I work with a lot of guys, and one of the things you when you're in a team, you could say, well, I need this event to be here, I need this logistically, and but then when you talk to Motorboat, he's like, nah, I'm gonna start with the user experience. So he really plans an event through the eyes of the packs. And I'll give you a specific example. In Boise, when Motorboat designed kind of the event, there was one part where the guys had been out for 12 hours already, and they were beat. And they had been out there throughout that Boise sun, and they were dead. And so another group was supposed to come in and join them. And we all made this recommendation that the new recruits would come in and invigorate the worn out packs. And the Motorboat spun it. He's like, no, we're going to wear out the young guys right away, and the worn out guys are going to have to come and invigorate them. I'll be honest with you. I was like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. And he nailed it. It was such a cool thing. Can you talk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Boise was phenomenal chance to do a 24-hour growth training exercise. And so, like we said, we had that first group out. They had started early in the morning, and we had been going through, they'd been going all day, pushing hard, really digging into some of these leadership principles. And I had the guys take them up a hill. And so they were up on the top of this hill. They kind of crested. They were feeling like they got a break. They're looking out over. And on the other side, we had the the guys that were only going to do the 12-hour event, they had just gotten started and gotten a gear check with a surprise going on in there, and then sandbags. So many sandbags. I had the guys in Boise give me every sandbag they could get their hands on. And so it was at least 4-to-1 on the ratio of sandbags to guys. And all of them, the heavy ones, the 200-pounders. And I also had a couple of these giant exercise balls filled about halfway with water and only 3/4 of the way inflated. So they were just awkward and all over the place, and gave the guys, said, hey, you're going to take everything from one side of the field to the other side of the field, and said, how fast do you think they could do it in? And, they gave me some crazy time that they thought they could do it in, and they were just short, and they kept doing it and they were just short. And it's really just feeling tired, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just starting this event. Where are the other guys at that we thought we were joining? We thought we were going to help them out, and I'm exhausted and I don't know what to do. And the guys up on the hill could see it, and they could see it happening, but you can't come straight down the hill because it's steep and there's a lot of elevation change. So they've kind of got to figure out how to switch back safely to get there to then help out. Because if you had just had 2 more guys, you would have been able to get there. So then you got these guys that are exhausted, and you can see it in their face. They're like, what am I going to do? I've got another 11 hours to go of this. And then you got these other guys coming down the mountain, just screaming and yelling and pumped up, and they all join in, and boom, you hit that time hack. And it just helped them mesh together and not have our 12-hour guys and our 24-hour guys as 2 different groups, but this is one group working together to meet what seemed like an impossible task. And yeah, it succeeded, and I was very excited for it.
And while we're on Boise, I want to bring up that picture. I think you guys listening have probably seen this yellow picture of Motorboat and the group, and the hills in the background. That was not supposed to be that way. I know that. And you changed it. Talk to me about that. How'd you know that was going to happen? How'd you set that up?
We're talking about the sunrise picture, right?
We're talking about that sunrise picture.
Yeah. So, that, part of it is luck and timing and just putting ourselves in the right position. But for the GTE, we like to have this sunriser where guys give some inspirational talk as the sun is coming up, because that sun is a new day, a new chance to lead. You're getting through that darkest part of the night. And I said, hey, I want this to be great. We want to get a good picture. Where's the sun going to come up? Okay, we're coming up on the east side here. So this is where the sun's going to be. So I want us to be looking at the speaker who's going to have the sun coming up behind his back. And they said, oh, we got a great spot for this, up like 3,000 feet. I don't know. It was ridiculous. There was so much elevation change. And it works out perfectly, because that is, you're exhausted. You've been pushing hard. The guys are just tired. Then we're going up this really steep side to get up to the top. They all get up there. We're looking around and say, okay, we're going to position up so everybody can see the speaker. And then the sun comes up, and there was just a little bit of cloud cover there, and just flags going with the breeze. And it was like, yes, this is what we need right there. And it was just a really empowering time as that sun comes up and you get the warmth from that, and it's not cold, and you're kind of getting that cortisone bump as the night is coming to an end. And it was great. And the guys were up there giving an inspirational talk, and I have nothing to do with what they had to say. I'm just putting them in the right position and giving them the opportunity, and they knocked it out of the park.
Did I see in that picture where you guys were all carrying bear spray?
So I try to plan these events as best we possibly can. And sometimes local wildlife will give us a run for our money. For anybody that was in Northwest Arkansas, we had a little run-in with like a 3.5-foot poisonous snake in a river, which was quite terrifying. I'll let you know, because I was like, well, this is going to end poorly if the snake bites us. So after that point, I always asked about wildlife. And one of the local packs in Boise told me that bears were a possibility. So I prepared for bears. I learned about bears. I learned, how I'm going to back away from them carefully. And then, bear spray is useful for this. So we're going to carry bear spray so that there's not going to be an emergency. Turns out there aren't bears in Boise. And I did not know that. I did not care to research, like, are bears in Boise? No, I just took their word for it. And I was whoops. And better yet, one of our cadre had that in his carry-on as he tried to go home. And American TSA is not too keen on something that can be used as a weapon.
Can't be over 3 ounces.
Something designed to spray a weaponized thing.
That was a long joke, man. That took forever. That was like every meeting. We had all these meetings, and I just kept peppering them with all this wildlife sightings around Boise. And I never told anybody about the joke. Even the local packs didn't know. They're like, why did the cadre have bear spray? And I was like, oh, that was my fault. I was telling them there's going to be bears everywhere. I just wanted to mess with y'all. And I thought that was funny. And then I never told anybody the joke. I think I didn't even tell you till after you guys had left. And then Uncle Rico said he had that incident in the airport. That was a great, that made my day. You just had an event this past weekend in Jeffco. Is that where we were?
Jefferson City. So Jeffco is actually in St. Louis. Jefferson City is the capital of Missouri. I found that out in the planning stages.
And how'd it go? How'd it go?
This was fun. We tried out a new premise on this one. So for those that have been around the Grow Ruck team for a while, we are always working to change what we're doing, make it better. We take feedback from everybody. We always listen to it. What is useful? What is not useful? How do we do things better? And one of the things that this year we were pushing was integrating the Grow School concepts a little bit better into the GT event, the Crucible Ruck, if you will, and how we can use that. So for this event, I borrowed from my buddy Anaconda, also one of the cadre down in Florida, and he had a couple ideas, and I put it into play for this Rux. I had all of the guys bring sandbags filled with 20 pounds with their spouse's name written on it, and a sandbag for each of their kids as well. And then we simulated a tornado at the start of the event. And everyone used to a welcome party, which is just, oh, we're going to do a bunch of exercise. We're going to get you tired. No, I took everything out of their bags that were all labeled, spread them out all over the field, blindfolded the guys, had all the support team there with leaf blowers, blowing leaf, at them, throwing water in the air. I've got sounds of a tornado on my phone playing over a speaker, just disorienting. And we did this event as if a tornado had hit that area because tornadoes are a real thing here in the Midwest. And so they had to recover the gear that was important, get all of that stuff. Then they had to get their family members to high ground. Then we did a bunch of carrying things and moving. We learned how to make a litter and improvise a stretcher for the injured, move that around. And then to end the event, they brought some injuries down a really steep hill, came back up to get their family members that had been in a safe ground to move them to another safe ground. And then they were carrying all these sandbags representing their family members to a field that we were ending at. And all of their actual family was there to meet them. And they got this chance to be, hey, I am dad and I am strong enough to carry you after working my butt off for 12 hours here. And I'm going to be able to get you to safety, and just kind of incorporating that throughout of it. And it was a really powerful, really fun evolution to see.
I love that. I love it. I love picking up my kid and I'm like, how much do you weigh? And they're like 80 pounds. I'm like, I could carry you a mile. I know that. And I only know that because of the events that you guys put on. So, you talked a lot about physical. This is Circle of Trust podcast. I know for a fact that those evenings are as much as of a mental exercise as they are a physical exercise. And not everything goes according to plan. I know for a fact in Katy, Texas, there was an incident. The guy had a lot of problems, and you and Power Clean and a couple other folk had to take care of a PAX for a while. Talk to me about how you put on this great event and all this planning goes into it, but it can go sideways in a hurry if a PAX has an anxiety attack, mental breakdown, you name it. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So. You're right. We do talk a lot about the physical, but the mental is at least 50% of the battle. And so it starts from the very beginning, signing up, right? This can be stressful. There's a lot of the unknown, and we intentionally keep a lot of the unknown. We don't tell people what we're doing in advance. And I tell the guys at the beginning of the event, hey, no GPS trackers, no watches, no phones. Not to be a jerk, but because I want you to be present in the moment. And I want you to not be looking forward to, oh, hey, I know I just got to get to 8:30 in the morning and I'm going to be done. I want you to focus on this evolution. And I'm going to try to bring that evolution to you for a specific reason, and things go on. And then, yeah, sometimes we push a PAX too hard. Sometimes we push them in the wrong way. Sometimes there's a gap in our planning and we didn't do something right. A PAX will notice that and point that out to us. And that is a little bit of a panic moment of how am I going to fix this right now? And then secondly, how am I going to take this to the team? Because I don't like it, but I have to say, guys, I screwed up. I didn't plan for this. I didn't think about this. I didn't execute this correctly. And to say that to the guys that I admire and I look up to is a tough pill to swallow. But it's very useful to point it out because we're all going to make mistakes. And so this just gives us a chance to learn and make it better in the future. And then how do we handle it at that time? So we've got to find hey, what triggered this guy? And then how can I help him face whatever that demon is that is too much for him to continue? And is this something that I'm going to be able to help bring him back into the event? Because that's ideal. I love to bring him back in the event. But the event's a very small part of our life and a very small part of our world. And a lot of the hard work for the event happens after the event because you have to take these lessons that you learned and you have to apply them to the rest of your life. And so if I've taken a guy and I've pushed him too far, how am I going to make sure he's okay on Sunday? How am I going to make sure he's okay on Monday and Tuesday and going forward from that? And so that's where the chance to really dive in and talk to guys and see what's going on with them and see what's bothering them. And then a couple of techniques called motivational interviewing, where we try to work out a plan, but I let them come to that plan and let me know what that's going to be, while also putting up some guardrails that are going to keep them safe and allow me to keep an eye on them, make sure that they're in a safe space, but also keep an eye on the other 112 guys that are doing an event with us that, are still in that event. I need to make that a good event for them. And so, that was a heck of a learning opportunity for me, for a miss on how we were prepared for a real world casualty situation that we've rectified. And then a chance for me to work on some of those leadership skills on how I talk to guys and how I approach situations. And that led to a lot of personal growth for myself, and then has allowed me to talk like in my professional world, when I've got some of my staff members that are just like, I'm going to go off the chains and everything's in. I'm like, what's going on here? Doesn't sound like it was just that one phone call that was the problem. It was the 4 hours that beat into it and the 6 months of somebody not respecting you the way that you thought they should have. And so I get a chance to talk with them and use those to help talk them off that short-term ledge, but then also that long-term ledge, and also what got us into that situation. Oh, that's something I'm directly responsible for. This means it's my fault. So I need to take that responsibility, and then I need to fix that so that they don't end up in that situation again.
I love the way you framed that. And Flea, just to be super clear to you, I was the PAX that had the mental breakdown, and I was ready to challenge the world. And I'll just tell you, I've had them before, but I've never had one and had an angel stand beside me for, I guess, Motorboat, you didn't leave me for an hour, I think. He just wouldn't leave me. Anyway, he really didn't say a whole lot. I think he empowered me in that situation to take a little bit more control of myself. But just FYI, I was that guy. And Motorboat, I love what you do. I love the during the Grow School. Yeah, there's a specific conversation about come talk to me. You guys are very, we give you a lot of credit for all the physical things you do. I don't know if we give you enough credit for all the mental supports that are in place throughout that night. And on behalf of a PAX who needs that, thank you. Thank you. And I love it was you and love you to keep doing. Motorboat, you're, I know a little bit, and he didn't say this, but Motorboat's a doctor. He's a really good doctor. He's a professor of doctors. And stop me if I'm messing some of this up. He's a chief of a hospital, chief of staff, or what? So you are in leadership arenas 24/7. And I know guys who will go to F3 and they don't want to do leadership in F3 because it's kind of a break for them. They finally just get to come in and listen. Why do you keep flipping that switch? Why do you keep saying yes? Yeah, I'll step in another leadership position. I'll step in this other leadership position. Aren't you done? Are you just built that way?
It's a twofold thing. So the guys at F3 have poured so much into me, and they teach me all the time. Whether they're the Q or the not, they are always teaching me about leadership skills and how to get better at things. And like I said, that GTE in Louisville changed the trajectory of my life. I handle everything differently. I was not a good leader before that. I'm not saying I'm a good leader now. I'm just saying I'm better than I was then. And that really has taught me how to talk with people differently, how to approach things differently, that my brain works significantly different than other people. And, I'm one of the people that says, okay, there's a problem. Let's do something. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, pick something different. Oh, whose idea was that? The lowest person on the totem pole? Totally fine by me. Let's go with that. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something different. It doesn't matter who it comes from. I'm always willing to do that. And that's not how everybody works. And so this gives me the opportunity to continue to kind of give back to the guys that have given me so much. I do work full time as a physician. I am the chief of staff of a hospital. I've got about 420 physicians that I'm responsible for from that standpoint. And every day is a new challenge. And some of them I get to look at in the hospital. I'm like, wait a second, I got to do something real similar about 4 weeks ago with some guys that were being real crazy. So I have an idea of what I'm going to try. And at least I've got my first plan in place and I can talk to them and I can, help them out with this. And I think about these skills that I have, and some of them just think, oh, okay, yeah, I should do that. That is the obvious answer to me. And it's not the obvious answer to everybody. So it's my responsibility to give that back to people. And it's the same thing when some of my guys come in at the hospital and they look at me and they go, no, why would you do it that way? You should do A, B, and C. That is the obvious answer. And afterwards I go, yeah, they were right, but it wasn't obvious to me. And the fact that you had the ability to point out, hey, this was obvious to you, it wasn't obvious to everybody. And that's why it's such a skill. And there are people that we all have that skill, and we've got to find that skill. And then we need to make sure that they know how to use that to everybody's advantage. Because there are some things that are really obvious to me. So really obvious to me is how to build that experience in a GTE. And I'm like, well, that's where I'm called to be. That's where I need to be. But when it comes to one of my Shield Lock brothers, he knows every single person's name, their birthday, all their wives' names, everybody's kid's name, and not just in the Shield Lock, in the entire region. And I'm like, how do you do that? I cannot keep all of that stuff straight. It doesn't come naturally to me. And he's like, oh yeah, how about that one PAX that showed up one time and he told us as a COT? And I'm like, I don't even remember that PAX. I'm looking at a picture of him and I still couldn't pick him out, but you know everything about that guy and have followed up with him. Yes, that's what you need to be doing. And what comes easy to you doesn't come easy to other people. And so it's your responsibility to give that away to others and to help them succeed as best you can.
And that's where the complementary leadership can do really great things. And we talk about SLTs within F3, and you've got one guy like yourself who could be very good in certain skills and certain approaches to leadership, but then you've got someone complementary to the side of them who can have a critical approach on things, or say, well, let's try things differently, or I've done this experience before, I found this works the best way. So it's not all about there's one correct way to do it. It's a very dynamic thing. You've got volatility, you've got things changing, you've got different packs to deal with different workouts, and like say if you're flipping in between regions and you're queuing at different places, those packs respond to different things in different way to this ones. Now I get that, and it does sound like you're in a fortunate position, but maybe your colleagues are in a fortunate position. They've got someone who's a strong leader and wants to improve their leadership development, and that's a great trait to have, is that you want to improve and you want to keep improving. But who's your whetstone? Who do you look up to? Who do you get that learnings from? You mentioned other packs and other queues, but are there any other people outside of F3 maybe that you look up to?
Yeah, on the professional side, I have two people that I talk to on a regular basis, and they help me and they help teach me the ways to navigate the system. Because when I look at my professional world, I want to change the way that we deliver care in the United States. If you're not familiar, the United States spends almost a fifth of its GDP on healthcare, and our health outcomes do not reflect that in the slightest. And so I have sought out several people in leadership roles and say, okay, how am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Can we meet on a cadence? What is, this is what I'm looking for in that. And a couple of times I said, you know what, I'm not the right person for that. And I said, that's okay. Do you have a suggestion on who is, or who might have that time? And then I seek them out and I talk to them. And then part of it is talking to them, and part of it is implementing what they tell me, because these are people that, I don't know on a personal level in terms of my family and my life and what's going on, but they help me professionally and say, okay, they're helping me out. They're taking time out of their day. And so I do my very best to kind of listen to what they say and help out with that. So yeah, I've got a couple of leaders in my area that I'm fortunate to talk to on a regular basis that help shape me to make me stronger and sharper.
Fantastic. And it all starts with that morning workout, like you say, that 5:30, that 5 o'clock, that 6 o'clock in some countries, not mentioning the UK, starts at 6 in some places, but it's still early enough. Talking of which, we didn't ask at the beginning, Huck, we didn't ask about workouts this morning. Did you get to post this morning, Motorboat?
Absolutely. I got to post at one of our locations here on the west side. It's a twofer. So, show up at 4:40 initially and get in a solid 50-minute stretch, which is a fantastic way to start. And then this workout, we actually played ultimate Frisbee on a turf field with lights. And, it's fun. It's a good chance. It's a lot of guys that I don't to see on a regular basis. The lights pop on so that we can play Frisbee and have a great morning. Still covered about 2.5 miles of running. So that's fun. And it was a fantastic end of.
What about you, Huck? Did you get out?
Today, I did. I queued today. Today is my 11-year anniversary with F3.
Fantastic.
And so I took that opportunity to queue, and we did 11s. We just did 45 minutes of 11s, and 4 guys showed up. And the highlight was I had an F and G out there, and this guy is a best-selling author. He's done a couple things, and he's gone on book tours, and he's got a company. He's real successful. And at the end of it, he made the statement. We named him Ooh La La, by the way. He made the statement, man, how great would the world be if every dude started their day like this every day? And I was like, that's kind of what we're doing. Kind of what we're doing. So I love that it hit him. I think what we call it, drank the Kool-Aid right out the gate. Yeah. Or something like that. Yeah. I think he did. So we'll see him Monday. He'll be back out Monday. Yeah. How about you, Flea?
No, I didn't this morning. I was downrange with work in a city where there's nothing available. And to be fair, I posted a lot this last week and convergence early tomorrow. So
yeah,
just taking it a little bit gently. I'm also just a little bit conscious at the moment of my accent. I heard on the Whetstone podcast this week, Plague picked me up that he has to slow down his podcast listening so he understands my accent. So I'm very conscious now that I need to just make myself a little bit more clear to you guys over the pond. So noted.
And I just happen to know Motorboat is also a 2-time speeder for a podcast. I just random facts I happen to know. Have you listened to Flea? Has it caused you to slow the speed down?
I did. So I had to go down from 2.5 to 2.0.
This is embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. It doesn't pick up everything. And I thought, oh man, I gotta get down to the 2.0 range here. So it's good. It's really good. I like it.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm inconveniencing the whole nation with my accent.
And I'm glad you brought up the Whetstone. I've noticed they've chipped in on us a couple times, but I love. Okay, now look, they chipped in, but I know their recording schedule. They're recording today. It won't be published till next Thursday. So there's like a 2-week gap of when they actually hear things or when they can respond to things. So we can talk trash about them right now, and it can sit for 2 weeks. They won't. Dredd won't even find it unless it's on Twitter. He ain't listening to these things. I know that. It's not on Twitter. All right, good. All right, coming up, we have another event, Freedom Ops event coming up in, I'm going to say Carmel. I know I'm going to pronounce that wrong.
It's pretty close. Carmel, Indiana would be the idea, but Indianapolis is the area, and about 30 minutes north is Carmel, Indiana. That's where most of the AOs are for F3 Indianapolis. And so it's going to be July 19th. There's still time to sign up for this. We are going to do a 1-day format of the GTE. So for those people that had said, hey, full weekend is too much to commit to this, we are trying out a 1-day format. And so Major Payne is taking the lead of this. If you've never met Major Payne, this man is a phenomenal planner. He will send out to the cadre team his plan for the weekend, and it will probably be 45 pages, single spaced, just everything in there. He plans it out. It's going to be phenomenal. But a basic highlight of the weekend is going to be a King Builder workout, which a lot of guys like. It teaches some leadership lessons during the workout. Then we're going to roll immediately into a grow school for about 3 hours. And then from there, there's going to be a very short break to change clothes, ruck up, get ready to go. And we're going to go into a 5 to 8 hour ruck. That's going to go straight from grow school. So you're not going to have to be bouncing around to any different locations. He's got a lot of things planned. There's talk about this tying in some history. So Indianapolis was a Munster location for the Union Army back in the Civil War. And Indianapolis actually has more monuments per square mile than any other city outside of Washington, D.C. He may be tying in some of that. He's got a bunch of ideas on how to tie in shield blocks and really making those guys to your left and your right stronger. So he's got a bunch of ideas that he's going to wheel in on that. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to finish off with a second F fellowship event, hang out, get some food, pop some beverages of some sort, and just get a chance to hang out, talk, decompress from the event, figure out how it went, and still get home to your bed on Saturday night. So you won't be gone from your family all weekend. So those people that are coming in, I highly, highly recommend this. It's going to be a fantastic event. Like I said, Payne's been working on this for a long time. He's still got another 3 weeks of planning in. It's going to be great. It's going to be really great. And it's going to run alongside what we're calling leadership course. So LC48, and this is from the Freedom Ops standpoint, they are bringing on new trainers and new cadre because it takes a lot to run an event. It takes the trainers that have a wealth of knowledge about leadership and how to pass that on. Some new cadre on there so that our schedules can be lightened up a little bit because we all have other obligations as well. And so right alongside, parallel to that, for anybody that's interested, there's going to be LC48, which is a 48-hour leadership course. They're going to join us for the Ruck session of that. And then there's going to be an opportunity Saturday night for anybody that wants to hang out and do kind of a mini GTE style where some of these cadre in training are going to get a chance to do some of the skills that they've been talking about for the last 48 hours. They're going to get a chance to be kind of mini cadre for some people that want to have a ruck-based event overnight. So there's going to be an opportunity for plenty of fun loving out there. But it's our opportunity to build that next group of cadre, that next group of trainers, and help them build a bond together within their own small group as they're coming in, build a bond with the entire Freedom Ops team, and get a chance to get better at what they're doing.
Well, that and Motorboat's a prime example of guys like he can't be mean enough to be a cadre, and then you find out. I probably won't go that route, but I will tell you this: if you're listening out there, try to get in that room. Leadership, a lot of it is putting yourself in a position to be successful. And if you can get yourself in that room around those guys, you will automatically accelerate just being there. If you can get in that room, I'm telling you right now, try to get in that room. If you're looking to be around the best of the best, some of the sharpest tools in the shed, some of the most driven, some of the, you get to sit and listen to Major Payne for just a minute. It's worth it. I think I've told Danny this several times. They should charge people like a subscription fee to be a part of this group. It's that powerful. It's that good. You just unlocks you and you get to hang out with guys like Motorboat. Second up event, if you guys are Motorboat, if you need a suggestion, I know a guy that owns a brewery in your neck of the woods. Flea, that would be Motorboat too. Oh my gosh. What doesn't this guy do? But try to get in that event. Flea, do you guys have any Freedom Ops events coming over your neck of the woods?
There's one scheduled in November this year, if I remember. Yeah, the date's not confirmed yet. It was floated out that this is looking to be sometime around November. So yeah, we're waiting for details to be confirmed. And the format, I don't know if it's going to be a full weekend or a one day. I don't know, but certainly interested from what you said, Moat, about the format and the types of challenges that you put through. I don't know whether I'm excited or scared, but I feel like it would be good for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, you should be both of those.
Yeah, I mean, I get the opportunity to lead these events, but this is an event that I'm going under the log. And so my shield lock's going to be there. These are these guys that I talk to on a daily basis. They help keep me where I need to be. They keep me focused on the important things in life. My wife, my family, not my job, which is easy to take away and take the primary focus. And it really shouldn't be. And they help ground me. So we're locking up with each other and we're going to do that, and I feel so passionate about these events and how much you can get out of them that even though I lead them, I've gotten to see behind the curtain, I'm still doing them and I still want to do them. I'm still excited to do them. And I'm also still a little scared because I don't know what Major Payne's going to pull out, but I know it's going to push me. And I'm excited for that chance to go up against what our perceived limits are and realize, there was still some more in the tank.
I love it. We're getting close to that time where I need to play some music. And this is where I have a hard time telling people bye because I'll just keep dragging on. The ADHD goes wild and we just keep talking. So anything else we should talk about before we get out of here? Circle of Trust, what you got? Anything?
Finally got my new
you can
puppy.
Share with the world. You got your new puppy. I'm going
to
put a picture of the puppy right now that you sent me. And y'all decide for yourself if that's the cutest thing you've ever seen or what.
Or ugly. I think Huck was is either cute or ugly, but I'm going with cute. She's lovely.
It might be. It might be one of those things. Y'all decide. Motorboat, you got anything?
My family will always take prayers. So one of those other things that my wife and I do is we foster. And so our current foster has been with us about 18 months. She could just, we could just use the wisdom on where we go forward from this, because it's a really tough decision point for mom, and it's going to come to a head in the next couple of weeks. And I don't envy her position. I don't envy the judge's position. And there's a lot going on in there. And, so wisdom is always appreciated from people. And I would tell everybody, in F3 or not, you don't know where anybody else that you're running into is coming from. You don't know what they're facing. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so, give them the benefit of the doubt, no matter what they're doing. And if it's somebody you care about, reach out to them. If you haven't heard from them in a while, reach out, check in, and truly mean it. Don't do oh, hey, how's it going? Do how's it going? And actually care about the answer. Because if you care about the man next to you, that's going to go so much better in the world, and it's going to make everybody better. So reach out and care.
I can't follow that up. So with that, we're going to play some music. Y'all sit tight. Well.